Right now, what we are going to do though, we are going to invite our Rainmaker. I'm going to give you a brief profile of the Rainmaker. But I know which I will not be doing any much justice with what I'm going to be saying because for me, it seems like he's actually walked a longest mile that we know. Ubaba Velaphi Mphande, he started as an electrical engineer in 1982, and he proceeded to become one of the leading unionists. Most of you guys will know this, COSATU was formed in the 80s. Now, when the person says, I was a unionist in the 80s, you know who the person is, he's been through a lot. In other words, we potentially could owe him a lot for just being here. Because the trade unions in the time, they were the voice when all the organizations were banned. In 91, he studied the labor management program through the University of New York. He joined the business world in 1995, and he did his management advanced programs at West Business School in 1998. He served in various management positions, which saw him become the Chief Executive Officer of Organic Gaming Corporation in 2004. And he steered the company to achieving more than 9 provincial gaming licenses. Well, you know that's where the money is, actually, if you've launched all over the country. He retired from Organic Gaming Corporation in 2010, but he continues to sit on the board as an executive director. And he also sits on the following board, ETV, Tsogosan, Sabido, and YFM. He is a family man who lives in Howick. And right now, guys, please, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Velaphi Mphande. Give us a motivational talk.
Sanbonan, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, the young people that have been up here, they make me shiver a bit. These are our billionaires in the next 10 to 15 years. It took us ages to get to where we are today, but it's because young people now are clearer than what we were 30 years ago. I'll tell you one thing that people have never taken note of. When young people started Kwaito, you know this Kwaito music, everybody was like, oh, Kwaito and so on. But there was one thing distinct about it. It was their own thing. It wasn't copied from anywhere else in the world. It's South African. It's their own. You may not like it, but guess what? They made a lot of money and get Kwaito. So which meant they were beginning to take control of their fate. My name is Velaphi Mphande. As the gentleman there has stated, I'm apologizing for one thing. Because I have this terrible flu. Because when I was invited here, I thought, okay, young people, what am I going to say to young people? But when we discussed it with Matsidiso and so on, it looked like it's the best thing to share your journey with the young people because they might just do it better than you. And I would really like to see these people succeeding because they are the only hope we have to make it better in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I started as a young electrical engineer, and I must say in 1982, I was told to get further than what I was doing for a company. I'm not going to say it's a very big company now, which used to be big in sugarcane, but now they are big in land. I will not say. Then you know who I'm talking about. I was told I will have to work for 15 to 20 years to actually get a promotion. And all the white people, if I may say so, who did not have the qualifications that I had, they were in management position. Now, I'm talking about 1982. So that's a long time ago. That's the apartheid times, just for you to understand where we come from. And that's the reason, Baba, I had to go and work for the trade union. When I left the company, my father said, because at that company, I must say, they had housing, so I had a free house, I had a car. I was like 22 years old to be 22 and a car and a house, Chief. I tell you, you can you can be very mischievous. But despite all that, I felt there's a lot for me to do in bringing about change so that one can be free to exercise what you have actually learned at school. It was very difficult under those circumstances to practice what I knew. Went and started working in COSATU, and my father said, I always knew there was something wrong with you, but I never thought you were a moron as well. The reason my father said that, I was earning 1,800 rand. That was a lot of money in 1982. To go and work for a trade union that paid me 350 rands per month, as and when funds were available. Now I had this car, came to work for the trade union. Guess who was my colleague, and actually a lot of them? Alec Ewing was one, Johnny Coplin the other, Jay Naidu, Cyril Ramaphosa, Sidney Mafumade. Those were the guys in Howard College, where we formed COSATU in 1985, December 5. The whole idea was to tell the government in no uncertain term that enough is enough. Guess what? I thought at that time, by 1988, apartheid would be over. That Botha guy, he just got stronger and stronger. So apartheid went nowhere. Up until, well, I went to America, came back, and did all what I had to do. By 1994, it became clear to all of us that some would have to go to fight for economic emancipation rather than all of us going for a political emancipation. People went to parliament, others went to business. Just a small joke. When we started a company here in Gale Street called Zenzeleni Clothing, by number 25, 125 Gale Street. Still there, but we started with 500 people. They all used to work for Frame, Mobeni, Jacobs, and New Germany. The funny thing about that, I had just come back from America. American unions own a bank called Actu Bank. And they own other businesses. So, came back with this idea, let's do business as a trade union because, okay, it's good to say people shall share from the Freedom Charter. Hey, there must be something to share. You can't just share nothing. So you have to create it first. So for those who study politics, they will understand capitalism, socialism, and the communism and all that stuff. Right now, in order to share something, capitalism will work for you because it will create wealth, and from there you will have something to share. Maybe politically wrong. Fact of the matter, you can't share anything if you haven't created anything. Okay, we go to Zenzeleni, we start the company. Bobby Gottsell from Anglo and Ubabo Don Ngube. They helped us to set up Zenzeleni. We started with 500 people. Here we come from trade union. We think it's cool to first sing Nkosi Sikelele before you start work, and Toi Toi and do all sorts of things. Question is, when are you going to do 10,000 overalls when you spend an hour singing Nkosi Sikelele? It's cool to sing Nkosi Sikelele, but why don't you just do it after work? Okay? All right. Zenzeleni today still exists, much smaller, about 85 people, but that's where we cut our teeth in business. I then went to Joburg, started with the company called Super Group. I must tell you this, because it's very important. Tokenism, window dressing, affirmative action, and all what you name it, exists. You need to be very careful. Here I am. I come from the trade union world. I get employed by a company. I won't mention the name, but it was a logistic company and so on. They make me a director. Why do you think they made me a director? You know what they do? They say, you're a director. They say, government business development. So, I'm a director. In board meetings, 14 white male and myself, 1 black male, they would talk about everything. It just goes past here. I don't understand what's going on. And at the end, they say, Mr. Mphande, what do you say about employment equity? Hey, you will feel very bad. That then challenged me, because I could see this is window dressing. This is tokenism now. That's when I went to vets. Well, luckily the company paid for it, reluctantly, but they had to pay. It's then when I came back, I understood what's going on. So be wary, be careful of being invited into these boards where you will immediately be called a director, not knowing what being a director means. Study and know what you are doing. I rather sell T-shirts, shoes, do all these things, rather than going big into all these big companies and only to find that they just want to get a government contract because they've got a black face in their board. So, but I'm very confident that our young people are very different from us. They know what they want, and they will get what they want. As long as you understand that when you go out there, just make sure you know what they are doing there. Don't just sit there and get out, get into a big Audi, go and live in Umhlanga, because when they pull the plug, yo, Baba, you are gone. Because you don't know what you are doing in that board. We then, in 1998, I'm going to stop now about my personal history, hit a big one. I'm saying hit a big one because that's when we got a license, ETV, the first television station which is free to air. Two things. The first 3 years, the year-end party of ETV happened at a garage of one of our directors, Marcel Golding. 3 years, no money. We had to sell our Vodacom stake to sustain television. It was tough. Today, I'm happy to say It's one of the companies in their billions in market cap and so on, and there's no way Guti ETV will ever go down. Well, the other companies that we are involved in after setting up ETV is Sohosan. It's 14 casinos, including the one in Suncoast and one in Pietermaritzburg, Golden Horse, and so on. As he has counted that I sit on the board of Sohosan, ETV, YFM, and others. But how does one do this? It doesn't mean you don't fail. So let's get there. Failure is not necessarily bad. Failure can be turned around to success. It only gives you the opportunity to try again. So, young people, don't fail and say, now that I fail, I'm changing, I'm going elsewhere. No. Try again until it gets right. I know a professor. Thank you. I know a lady who's a professor today. She got a child at the age of 16. The father said, no more school for you. When? Look after your child. She did look after the child. When the child was 3, I think that's when she turned about 19, she went back to school. She continued to a point where she got her PhD, and she's a professor, she's at Wits. So if you fall, it's not how many times you fail, it's how many times you can wake up from that. So it's very important. It's very important to understand that when you fall, it only begs for you to wake up, to stand up. Don't fall and lie flat. My brother, when you come to the opportunities, because opportunities are there, we just have to look harder to get to see the opportunities. I may not agree with him, but I think he made a statement when he said, unemployment should not actually be called unemployment. It should be unemployable. I said, what do you mean? He says, you know what? I read the paper. Wednesday, Sunday, I see a lot of jobs, thousands. And we say it's unemployment. We have got 40% unemployment, 25%. No. Job fit. Jobs are there. We don't qualify to do the job. It's a challenge to you young people. Study. Go to school. Try everything. So that these jobs, when they come forward, you are ready. Because it's better to be prepared and be ready for a lifetime and let the opportunity not come, rather than having opportunities coming and we're now ready. So take a very simple example. You have just studied, now you have got your masters and so on. I want a license. Can't drive. Hey, the opportunity comes. Hey, we need someone with these qualifications, masters in this and that, but have a license. This opportunity is pretty. You do not have a license, whether at the age of 24 or 22. You should have a license at 18, at least. 16 is good, but 18 you still can. But not to have a license at 25, guys, because there will be opportunity coming and passing you because you can drive. It's a job with a car. So be ready, be prepared, so that when the opportunity comes, you grab it as a young person. Patience and perseverance. can't emphasize more. It's very, very, I'm not saying people should not be ambitious, because we confuse ambition and patience. People want to jump and they hop from this job to that job. And no, 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 no. Be patient with what you are doing. Be patient with your job. Be patient with everything that you are doing. And persevere. Because I can tell you one thing. A lot of people, I'll make an example of the Harmony Gold situation. We put together a consortium, bought shares, Nabomzi, Kumalo, and so on, in Harmony Gold. A lot of people came to a conclusion that it was like, what, 7 rand when the shares were sold. Now they were 20 rand. I'm out of here. The consortium, the entire consortium, except for 2 or 3 people, sold the shares at 20 rand. Yes, they made a few millions. What was bad is that 8 weeks later, those shares were 95 rand. How do you feel? You've just sold for 20 rand and the share now is 95 rand. You feel like really kicking yourself. You ask yourself, why did I sell? Patience. You need to be patient and check before you go selling, what are the possibilities of the market changing? Is there anything that can cause this share to go up or go down? I mean, for those people who are dealing in shares. So the patience is required in business. The next thing that you really need in business, the young people now need to work hard on it, is risk management. A lot of things can really put you out in business. Just an example of one thing that I tried. And this is common in business schools. You'll learn about it and all those sorts of things. Never have all your eggs in one basket. Don't do business only with one customer or one department and so on. And you are owed millions of rands by one. I'd rather divide it into 4 or 5. If one goes down, 80% of your income is still coming because only one went down. Rather than when that customer of yours goes down, you go down too. Guys, it only takes one person not to pay you. Then you need to pay rent, salaries. People who work for you don't care whether you are paid or not. They just want their money. And they will strike if they don't trap you and really make a mess of you. Okay, so it's very important to manage that risk, that you do not have one customer and you do not rely on one thing. So that when the month end comes, some people pay you to cover your small thing. You may stay without a salary, but make sure your employees are paid, your rent is paid, your electricity is paid, and so on and so on. Okay, that's risk management. And the last one, last but not least, power of networking. I like what is happening here because to me, it looked like this is the best network ever. Call people, it's a hookup dinner. People will start to talking to each other. Zodwa and I moved from Johannesburg in 2010. We went to a small town, Howick. But there in Howick, we live on a golf course with one idea in mind. To make sure that our customers and potential customers come and play golf with us, with golf course. And deals are concluded there. Okay. So the power of network. as a business person, you must always think about it. Now, about what we do. When we came back from Joburg, from this red race, we started thinking, what are we going to do? We can't just sit here and do nothing. We started this thing, 2010, 29, 2009, I don't know. But we started something called Midma Music Festival. Every 31st of December, a Howick on the dam. 20 to 25,000 people gather there to have fun. And fireworks, Obolira, Ringo Madlingozi, you name them, have been there. A Midma Music Festival. It started very small. I think our first festival, I think we didn't even have more than 5,000 people. But today, people come from Eastern Cape, come from Lesotho, come from all over the show. The festival is very, very much alive. That's one of the things we do in Lape Howick. There are restaurants under the group that we formed, Masfigala, Velaphi Mphande Enterprise. One restaurant is in Pinetown, one is in Howick. We're also involved in the gaming. When we say gaming, we're talking about the slot machines. In the restaurants, when you see a machine, and so on, that's what we do. Okay? So when we talk about retirement, even retired people need to put food on the table. So we thought we should do business rather than just go and sit there and retire. Okay, good people. Lastly, I just want to tell you about the 3 types of people. And make sure that you are one of these people and not the last one, the first one. We have people called the movers and shakers. Sure, you know, a mover and shaker are people who are doing things. They make things happen. You must be part of people who make things happen. My brother there said, you are in a lift with a very famous person who can give you a job. What do you say in 180 seconds? You must make sure that that person, by the time he gets out of the lift, he has given you a card and he expects a call from you. You must become a mover and shaker. But there are people who are also watchers. The watching people, they will always say to you, did you see that? They tell you if you saw that. It has happened. Did you see that? That's all. Okay? But they're okay because they've noticed something. There's a mover and shaker, and there's a watcher. Good thing, they have noticed something, and they ask you, did you see that? Hey, there are people, the 3rd category, the wanderers. The wanderers, they do one thing. They wonder what happened. They say, I wonder, what happened? Telling the guy next door, hey, I wonder, what happened? Please, don't be a person who wonders what happened. Also, don't say, hey, did you see that? Just try to move and shake things towards your favor. Thank you very much for listening.